The crisp, cool air of early autumn in New York City bit at Ethan's cheeks as he walked, the towering glass facades of Fifth Avenue reflecting the vastness of his ambition. Just last week, he'd closed the biggest deal of his career, a negotiation that had consumed sleepless nights and tested every ounce of his resolve, the reward. A substantial bonus sat gleaming in his bank account, but this wasn't just about the money. It was about the moment. He wanted to mark it, to etch this triumph into something tangible and enduring. His gaze settled on a familiar emblem, a golden crown, above the pristine entrance of a luxury watch boutique. Today, he would finally get his Rolex. He pushed open the heavy glass door, the soft chime a prelude to a world of hushed elegance and understated luxury. Inside, the air hummed with a quiet reverence, the scent of leather and polished metal subtly present. A sales associate, impeccably dressed and radiating a calm, knowing politeness, greeted him. Ethan, a wave of anticipation washing over him, gestured towards the gleaming display cases. "I'm looking for a submariner," he began, his voice betraying a hint of excitement, or perhaps a Daytona. He imagined the solid weight of the iconic timepiece on his wrist, a symbol of his achievement, a quiet nod to his own journey. But as his eyes scanned the polished shelves, his smile faltered. The cases, beautifully lit, were conspicuously empty of the models he desired. There were a few Cellinis, some less sought-after date-just variations, but the titans, the legends, were nowhere to be seen. The sales associate offered a sympathetic, almost practiced smile. "Ah, Mr. Thorne," she began, her voice soft, "those are quite popular models. For a submariner, we have a waiting list, you see. For a Daytona, well, that list is rather extensive." Ethan felt a jolt of confusion, then a wave of disbelief. A waiting list. For a watch? He was ready to pay right here, right now, but there's nothing available? He pressed, his excitement now tinged with a growing frustration. "Not right now, unfortunately. We allocate them as they arrive," she explained, her tone unwavering. "It could be months, it could be years. We'll add your name, of course." This wasn't a mere temporary stock issue. It was a carefully cultivated strategy of scarcity, a cornerstone of Rolex's enduring, almost mythical, appeal in the US and European markets. Ethan left the boutique, the chime of the door now sounding less like an invitation and more like a gentle dismissal. He was bewildered. He had the money, the desire, yet the product remained utterly unattainable. His frustration quickly turned to curiosity, then a deeper fascination. He started talking to friends, other professionals who shared his aspirations. "Oh, a Daytona? Good luck." His friend Marcus chuckled over a video call from London. "I've been on the list for a GMT Master for 3 years. It's like trying to get a golden ticket." This anecdotal evidence was supported by hard data. Industry analysts, poring over the secretive world of luxury watch production, estimate that Rolex manufactures around 1 million watches annually. While this sounds like a lot, it's a relatively small number given their unparalleled global demand. Crucially, this production volume is consistently maintained below the overwhelming worldwide desire, especially for their most coveted professional models. This deliberate control of supply isn't an accident. It's a strategic masterpiece. For decades, Rolex has meticulously prioritized unparalleled quality, uncompromising precision, and an exhaustive manufacturing process at its state-of-the-art facilities in Switzerland. Unlike many other luxury brands that might rapidly expand production to meet immediate market demand, Rolex maintains a more measured, almost unhurried approach. Each component, from the intricate movements to the robust oyster steel cases and the shimmering Cerachrom bezels, undergoes rigorous testing and meticulous hand finishing. This obsessive focus on craftsmanship, while undoubtedly contributing to the exceptional quality and legendary durability of their timepieces, inherently and purposefully limits the number of watches that can reach the market. Moreover, Rolex strategically manages its exclusive network of authorized dealers across the US and Europe, limiting the number of retail locations and carefully controlling the allocation of their most popular models. This selective distribution further amplifies the perception of scarcity, creating a bottleneck that funneled all that immense demand into a narrow stream of supply. As Ethan's frustration mounted, the whispers of the gray market grew louder, a parallel universe of luxury watch trading. He started researching online platforms and specialist dealers. Here, the watches were available now, but the prices. They made his eyes widen. A Submariner Hulk model, for example, was trading for 1.5 to 2 times its official retail price. A Daytona, often double or triple data from prominent secondary market platforms like Cyrano24 and WatchArts consistently revealed this stark reality. Pre-owned and unworn Rolex watches, particularly those with notorious waiting lists at ads, commanded significant premiums. The average price of a pre-owned Rolex Daytona on these platforms had seen a consistent, often breathtaking, upward trend over the past 5 years, reflecting the intense demand and the perceived investment value. Ethan felt a surge of temptation. The immediacy was intoxicating, but was he willing to pay such a steep premium, essentially rewarding the very scarcity that frustrated him? He agonized. This was the allure of the Veblen good at play, a product whose demand actually increases as its price and exclusivity rise. It's an item whose value is derived not just from its utility, but from its status as a symbol of wealth and conspicuous consumption. The higher the price, the harder it is to get, the more desirable it becomes. The existence of this vibrant secondary market, while not directly controlled by Rolex, inadvertently fuels the brand's mystique. It reinforces the notion that owning a sought-after Rolex isn't just about acquiring a timepiece. It's about gaining access to a select club, an acquisition that holds tangible and appreciating value, almost like a piece of art or real estate. The psychological hooks were undeniable. Ethan felt the fear of missing out, FOMO. What if he waited, and the prices on the gray market went even higher? What if he missed his chance entirely? And the loss aversion, the idea that the pain of losing something is greater than the pleasure of gaining an equivalent item, made the thought of not securing a Rolex feel worse than the sting of the premium. Rolex had masterfully exploited these principles of behavioral economics: the difficulty of acquisition, the lengthy wait. The almost insurmountable barrier of entry paradoxically increased the desire, making the watch even more coveted once obtained. It transformed the acquisition into a genuine triumph, elevating its endowment effect, the tendency for people to ascribe more value to things merely because they own them, or in this case because they worked so hard to acquire them. Rolex's masterful branding across the US and Europe subtly reinforces this scarcity, turning it into a badge of honor. Their campaigns rarely focus on overt availability or aggressive sales. Instead, they emphasize heritage, exploring humanity's greatest achievements, celebrating iconic figures who pushed boundaries while wearing a Rolex. The message is clear: these are not mass-produced commodities, but enduring tools for exploration, symbols of personal success, and timeless heirlooms worth waiting for. This long-term branding strategy has cultivated a deep-seated desire that transcends fleeting trends, solidifying Rolex's position as a perennial object of aspiration. A recent survey from a luxury market intelligence firm in Europe found that over 85% of high-net-worth individuals perceive Rolex as the ultimate symbol of success, despite its relative unavailability. The brand implicitly communicates that you don't buy a Rolex, you earn it. After months of waiting, of checking his email daily, of almost succumbing to the gray market's siren song, Ethan finally got the call from the authorized dealer. His heart leaped. "Mr. Thorne, your submariner has arrived." The watch, once a distant dream, was now a tangible reality. He returned to the boutique, the chimes of the door now singing a different tune. The sales associate presented the watch, gleaming, solid, substantial. The moment he clasped the oyster steel bracelet onto his wrist, he felt its weight, its quiet power. It was more than a watch. It was a testament to patience, to perseverance, and to the unwavering pursuit of a goal. It became a subtle conversation starter, a recognized symbol among those who knew, quietly conveying a message of achievement and discernment. In conclusion, the often frustrating experience of trying to purchase a highly coveted Rolex in the US and Europe is not a flaw in their business model, but rather a key ingredient in its enduring, almost untouchable success. By strategically managing production and distribution, by meticulously focusing on quality over sheer volume, and by cultivating a brand image that equates ownership with exclusivity and enduring value, Rolex has masterfully leveraged the principle of scarcity. This deliberate unattainability doesn't deter demand. It fuels it, driving secondary market premiums and reinforcing the perception that owning a Rolex isn't just about telling time, it is about possessing a coveted symbol of status, achievement, and access to an exclusive world. The empty display cases, therefore, are not signs of failure, but rather powerful, albeit silent, testaments to the enduring power of a brand that has expertly turned scarcity into the ultimate form of luxury.